Welcome to Smalltalk Daily for Monday, June 1st, 2009. This morning I thought I'd go through something that's interesting about interfacing with public services, in this case Facebook, and doing that from Smalltalk. The API here is an HTTP-based one, but one of the interesting things you need to do is construct this signature block that you put in as an argument to your HTTP call, and then the backend server validates based on your secret key and public key that you've been handed once you've signed up with Facebook. And the hard part, or not really the hard part, the part that you need to figure out is how to do that from Smalltalk. They give you here an example of how to generate that, and they give you PHP code, and you kind of have to transliterate that. So what it tells you is to go ahead and dump a bunch of arguments in, and then you have to do an MD5 transform on it. The part of this that I didn't quite understand at first is that they want this in hexadecimal format, which was easy enough to find out after Googling a bit. But then it also is the case that they absolutely wanted it in lowercase, which I didn't really figure out right away, but back and forth a few times and I figured that out. How do you do that in Smalltalk though? Well, here's the Smalltalk equivalent to this page there. So if I go in here, I take and I go through each of my parameters here, and I put them in key equal value. And that's all I'm really doing to construct this. I take the parameters in the order that they're telling me I'm supposed to put them in, and then putting them in this format, which that page explains. Then finally I put the secret key, which again, that's what I'm supposed to do. And this is the part that took a little work to figure out based on reading the page. Smalltalk code's trivial, but I had to figure this out. MD5 is a class. If you load the security code, you get this. So you have to load the security parcel, and I'll show you where that is in the system. If I go to System, Parcel Manager, and then once that comes up, you go over here to Security, and you find that down here there's an MD5 package. You just load that. I've already got that in, obviously, so that's how you bring that in. Once that's in, you do a hash of the contents, and that'll give you back a byte array. Now, the next thing is you don't want to pass a byte array up to the service. It needs to be in string format. It turns out that there's this asHexString method. So if I just pop this up and I find the implementers of that with explain, so I want to browse them. So I come down here, byte array asHexString, and that tells me what I get. So it'll give me back a hex string, something that looks like this. And that's interesting, but I wanted it all as lowercase, so I send this to it finally, and I get back something useful. And that's really all I need to do to take this example from here, transliterate the PHP code into Smalltalk, and then drop that off to the server. And you're going to have to go through the same process if you're going to interface with something like the Amazon Web Services. They have their own way of doing this. Google has their way of doing this for some of their stuff. OpenID, if you want to interface to that, they have their way of doing these things. You need to get in and dig through the guts of some of the security code and the HTTP code. And the other thing you really need to get if you're going to be working with this stuff is there's a package you definitely want to load called Web Support. And this Web Support package gives you a few things in HTTP client. In particular, it gives you this post with form data, and you can hand it a dictionary or a collection of associations, and get form data, you can do the same thing. And those two methods are priceless because you really don't want to build that yourself. It's not that it's hard to do, it's just a pain in the neck. And since they're already implemented in Web Support, you don't need to. So that's about it for today. Until next time, have fun with Smalltalk.